I always do what's best for business. But in terms of how they managed this, not best for business. It was a shit show. Have them attack Cody, then The Rock could have made the save. Have Cody at least like fake an injury or something. If you ask me, I think faking an injury past the point of Mania, and he has an out for why he's not fighting Roman, is that not much better than him just being like, I'll give it to you, Rock, and I'll see you guys later? I mean, that was like the worst possible way that they could have booked this. He just slouched his shoulders and shook hands and was like, bye-bye. It made him look so bad, man. Chest up, shoulders back. This is Revival Wrestling, where I have better wrestling takes than you, and you know it. And you guys probably saw what happened between The Rock and Cody and Roman. I was at the gym when it happened. I did not see it live, but I'm on the way home and I'm watching it, and it's not surprising. Now, if you guys remember, I made a video discussing this exact problem because this became very apparent once The Rock made that head of the table remark. The last time he returned, he just keeps randomly showing up, I guess for the big surprise pop, which is good for what it's worth. But now we're at the point where Cody is getting screwed again. I mean, there's no other way you can really say it. And I understand. From a business standpoint, this is the right thing to do. Because as popular as Cody is, he is the biggest babyface in the company. It's The Rock. Okay, he can't compete. It's that simple. And I will say, as much as this is screwing over Cody, I am happy that they're not doing some sort of convoluted triple threat or Cody being the guest referee. Oh my God, they might do that actually, now that I think about it. Or The Rock being the guest referee or something like that. At least it's Roman and The Rock one-on-one. At least that's what I hope it's going to be. I'm sure they're going to have a big contract signing segment. You know, they might find a way to shoehorn Cody into this somehow. Given that Punk got injured, I would assume he's just going to fight Seth now. And, I mean, he's got to beat Seth. Somebody has to beat Seth and take that consolation prize-ass title off of him just to put some new life into it. Seth is a solid wrestler, man, but acting-wise, it's just not there. He can have his moments whenever he wants to when he wants to get more serious, but most of this reign has been very, very forgettable. Roman even said in his promo tonight, he's like, Seth, no pop. The second place title, I mean, he buried it, which is rightfully so. It's a consolation prize title. There's no other way to logically look at it. They were like, hey, nobody is going to beat Roman. He's never here. New belt, and it's shiny, yay. And then he said he's not going to go after Roman now. He's like, I am going to get my title, but not at WrestleMania. And the crowd was kind of like, what? And then he said, I talked to some veterans and some elders and all this stuff, and one of them knows you very well, and that pretty much made it obvious. Then The Rock comes out. Okay, here's what I don't understand, man. If this was going to happen, why would The Rock not just win the freaking Royal Rumble? What's the point? Cody wins the Rumble, and then he's like, you know, I will give my match to you, Dwayne. And I'll tell you what, the way they had Cody leave made him look like a bitch, didn't it? He hugs Dwayne, he looks at him, and he just leaves. Just leaves. I mean, this guy's been scratching and clawing his way back since he lost, and he got screwed over because Roman always cheats to win, since the last WrestleMania, man. And I even said back then, I was like, there's no way they can keep up this momentum. Give them, and especially Cody, credit. They kept all the momentum. Cody still gets huge cheers. He's extremely over. I mean, whenever he came out tonight, whenever Roman came to the ring, the crowd was chanting Cody before Roman could even get the microphone in his hand. He has that long-ass entrance, right? I mean, dude, Cody is still mad over. And you have to give him credit. I didn't think he could do it. I really didn't think he was going to be able to stay so popular this long, given all those side feuds and stuff he had to go on while Roman just doesn't show up. And he freaking did it. And this is how he gets repaid now, because The Rock is back. The part-timer returns once again. It's like, God damn it. I mean, dude, is The Rock so busy with so much stuff going on? Didn't he just join the TKO board? Like, in person in the meeting the other day? Right before all the Vince stuff happened? Like, how could The Rock not be at the Royal Rumble? That Rumble really could have used him, because that thing became a really slow event. The crowd lost interest. It just was kind of trudging along. I mean, they could have really used toward the end there. Can you imagine The Rock coming out, how much that would have woken up the crowd, and just how much energy that would have pumped into the match? And you could have had him have all kinds of things, right? Roman could have pulled Cody out, or have one of his goons, Solo or Jimmy or something, eliminate Cody somehow, and then The Rock comes in and wins, or The Rock saves him. This is what I'm saying, man. I just don't understand the way they presented this made everybody involved look bad. Cody looks bad because he wins the Rumble, he points at Roman, all the momentum's back, like here we go again, right? He's finally gonna finish the story. And then he just is like, I'm gonna take what I want and take everything from you, but not now. Then he leaves. Made him look like a punk. Makes The Rock look bad because he's the part-timer that came back and just got shoehorned in. At least if he won the Royal Rumble, you have a valid reason for him to have the match. And you technically don't need that on somebody of his level. But even so, he looks bad too. He looks like the evil part-timer. It's like kind of that Goldberg arc whenever he would keep coming back a number of years ago. It's the same thing. He just comes back and just handed these title matches based on the name alone. And the general public, that's cool for them because all they care about is, oh, The Rock is fighting? Oh, I want to see that. But the hardcore fans, the serious fans on Twitter, they're not taking to this well at all. You can even see Cody's face. He's a pretty emotional dude. He kind of wears it on his sleeve as much as he was trying not to. I mean, you could see in his face, he was like, oh my God, I have to do this. I get it, man. I understand why he's upset. That's got to stink, doesn't it? First year, they're like, hey, you're not going to win, even though you probably should, because we want Roman to beat Hulk's record. I think Roman is only 200 or so days from beating Hulk's record. Okay, sure. I understand why they want to do that. I totally get it, because Hogan is old, and the kids now don't like him, and, there's all, like, the racism stuff and all that other, Hogan's, like, a notorious liar and everything. I get why you would want the longest reigning champion in your company to be a more recent guy. I mean, it's better business-wise in a lot of ways. Roman looks like just Roman, he shows up whenever he wants and says things, and then he's going to cheat to win. I would not expect him to drop the belt to The Rock. I mean, that would open a whole nother can of worms. Part-time Dwayne with the belt. I mean, another part-timer. Logan Paul's a part-timer and has the U.S. Championship. I mean, this is WWE's big problem, man. They can't build stars anymore that they can trust, or at least that they want, to have these belts. The ones that they're going to be promoting and all this other stuff. I mean, that's an Attitude Era problem in general, right? Rock, Austin, when he came back for the other WrestleMania, and Austin did a thing with Kevin Owens. It wasn't on the level of magnitude what The Rock is doing. But all these legends come back, and they're still so much more over than the current guys. I mean, Cody is one of the dudes who is about almost at that level of, like, a legend when he returns at this point. And they just swept the rug right out from under his feet. And then Seth was made to look really bad. So not only does Seth now have the Consolation Prize Championship, in terms of charisma, he is the worst of all of these parties, which I don't think Seth is going to have anything to do with The Rock or Roman Reigns, rightfully so. I don't think he needs to. But just in this kind of small universe of characters right now, Cody, Seth, Punk, Rock, Roman, Seth is the least charismatic of all of them. That's not debatable. I mean, Roman, I think he's overrated as an actor. I saw his promo tonight. Some of it gets too obvious, like the laughing he does and stuff like that. But the Tribal Chief thing is still a solid act. Seth has his moments, like I said, but he's just not there. I guess if nothing else, at least Cody's going to beat Seth. Maybe. I'm not totally sure, man. Maybe they do something to where the bloodline costs Seth the championship. Actually, it'll probably be Drew McIntyre now that I think about it, because what is he going to do now? What is LA Knight going to do at WrestleMania? What is AJ going to do? What's Randy going to do? You see what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot going on here, and you shoehorn The Rock back in. That kind of just moves the pieces around when you really didn't need to be moving that piece, because there's a lot of other puzzle pieces. But here's how I would have booked this. If you're going to have The Rock do this, he should have won the Royal Rumble. Okay, let's assume that he doesn't, though, for whatever freaking reason. He couldn't be there to win the Royal Rumble. Makes absolutely no sense. What could he have possibly been doing if he's able to be on SmackDown and then these coming shows leading up to WrestleMania? But why would you not have the Bloodline attack Cody, right? Cody comes out and says, I'm coming for that championship. That's the one I want. And then maybe he insults Roman. They get into an altercation, and then Solo spikes him. They put him through a table. Like, dude, have Cody at least, like, fake an injury or something. If you ask me, I think faking an injury past the point of Mania, and he has an out for why he's not fighting Roman, is that not much better than him just being like, I'll give it to you, Rock, and I'll see you guys later? I mean, that was, like, the worst possible way that they could have booked this, to give it to The Rock and not give Cody an out at all. He just slouched his shoulders and shook hands and was like, bye-bye. It made him look so bad, man. I feel terrible for him, dude, seriously. But have the Bloodline attack Cody, because that's all they do anyway. If they're not in a tag team match, they just kind of attack people. Have them attack Cody, then The Rock could have made the save. Right? Roman's gonna spear him, he does the hoo-ah thing, and it's all hyped up. Would that not have been way better? The Rock comes and saves Cody, and then Cody can sell. You know, he's a great seller. They can cart him out on the stretcher, and oh my god, Cody's not moving, he's suffering injuries, and The Rock attends to him and he helps him up, and maybe The Rock gives him the thumbs up and, like, you know, holds his hand and something like that. Would that not have been better? I mean, anything like that would have been so much better than the way they did it. Man, I cannot believe that's how you did this. And The Rock coming back and the pop and everything kind of washes over it for the casual fans, but in terms of story, man, I mean, they just nuked the hell out of this. I mean, I guess Cody's going to have his moment at SummerSlam. If they try to push this out to the next Wrestle, I mean, at that point, it's just a meme. Like, every year, he's about to win the title at WrestleMania, then he doesn't. Whether he loses it or if some part-timer comes back and takes the thunder. God damn, dude. But I just don't understand it. Why would you not come up with something more clever? You're telling me this booking team could not come up with something more clever than that? And that's the one last thing I want to talk about here. All these people online worship Triple H, and they always have. Now they don't like him. Now they're turning on him. I've said before, I think Triple H is an overrated booker. He's not bad. I don't think he's good. He's just average, right? Some of the things he does, you're like, okay, good, I can see that. Other things, he's still obsessed with shoving NXT talents all over the roster. He's got people that aren't really good, but he keeps trying with. You know, the mid-card on a lot of these shows still is nothing special, right? Some of these factions, the pop-up, the Street Profits lost all their momentum. The Karrion Kross faction stinks. The LWO stinks. He gave those NXT girls the women's tag team titles, and nobody even knew who they were, and then they dropped them, thankfully, because they didn't deserve them in the first place. I mean, Triple H is very hit or miss, man. He's a mixed bag. But people online, Papa H and all this stuff, they talk about him like he's amazing just because he's not Vince. You remember whenever Vince was still in the picture? And anything they didn't like, oh, it's Vince. Well, Vince is still has his hand in the pot. It's Vince. The Vince influence is still there, right? They love to say that. Anything they liked, it was Triple H. It was Papa H, Booker of the Year, Papa H. Anything they don't like, oh, evil Vince. Vince is all gone now, guys. He's all gone. He's done. He might even end up in jail. Okay? So you can't keep blaming this stuff on Vince. And now you're seeing them turn on Triple H because they're like, why would you do this? Yeah, Triple H, I mean, booking wrestling is not easy in general, guys, especially with all these stars in this time of year. But it's a business. You guys have got to stop thinking Triple H is like one of the boys. He's part of the IWC. He does what's right. No, he's running a business still. And The Rock versus Roman is going to draw more buys and sell more merch and more tickets and all this other stuff, more mainstream exposure, undoubtedly, than Roman versus Cody. It's a business, and Triple H does. As he used to say all the time when he was in the Authority, I always do what's best for business. But in terms of how they manage this, not best for business. It was a shit show. And I'm interested to see if they tie some loopholes up or loose ends or something, but man, that was very disappointing. They made Cody look really bad. Dang, man. He came back and he got injured. He had the torn pec, all this stuff. He's constantly doing media and press. They say he signs autographs for hours before and after these shows. Like, he's doing everything you possibly can to get over as a huge babyface, and he has successfully done so. And he waited, and he was patient. Triple H, I guess, didn't forget the time he smashed that throne with the sledgehammer in AEW. Triple H has a big ego, man. You guys got to remember that. Oh, man. I'm sorry, Cody.